What's up, expats and travelers alike? I'm Josh with Expats Everywhere, and if you're anything like me or my wife Kaylee, you're interested in getting a property here in Portugal, but you don't have a ton of cash just sitting around where you can buy the property outright, so that means that you need a mortgage. Well, I'm going to Aveiro to talk to a mortgage broker who has actually helped a ton of people out getting mortgages. He's super active in the YouTube comment section and on Facebook helping people out, and I even talked to one of his clients at the end of this video, and we discussed the buying process for them. So let's go. So I guess my first question is, as a foreigner, am I eligible to have a mortgage here in Portugal?
If you live and work in the US or Canada or Australia or any other country abroad, you can finance and buy a property in Portugal.
Okay.
Yes. It's just a matter of showing the tax returns, pay stubs, credit report, credit score.
Okay.
Okay. But it's very easy to get an approval here.
Do I need a credit score from the US or one from Portugal?
The credits, they're not looking at the credit score, the punctuation. They're looking more for the credit report.
Okay.
To make the analysis of the debt to net income.
I see.
Okay, it's just a matter of that. If you don't, if your installments fit on your debt to net income, that's okay.
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 And I think I need a NIF. Is that correct?
Yeah, sure. Okay. You need the NIF. There is the fiscal number here in Portugal.
Okay.
That's very important to everything here, to buy or finance something here.
Are there any other documents that I need? Do I need to already have a Portuguese bank account?
No. Usually, how does it work? I'm a whole market mortgage broker.
Okay.
So I work with several banks.
Okay.
So you send me the documents, and I call the banks and talk to the banks to get the proposals from them. Okay. Okay. Then we sit together once again, and we discuss the proposals. You find one that fits better for you. Okay. So the one who fits better, we go forward and open the account. Because you must have an account to get the debits from the mortgage here. Okay. It's not necessary to have an account open previously. Okay. You can open during the process. So it's better to first choose your bank based on the proposals. Okay. Then go on, open the account and finding your property. Okay.
So I'm relatively young. Relatively.
No,
right?
You are very young.
So is it possible? Is it possible that some people that are maybe in older age brackets are still eligible for mortgages? Or is there any limitations there?
Yes, sure. The age group, well, the banks usually finance up to 74 years old. So if I have 54, I can get a 20-year term. Okay. If I have 44, I can get 30. But some cases, for example, for someone within the 60s, in the late 60s, we can get maybe an expansion up to the 79-year-old, okay? Okay. It's a matter of quote the banks to see what they are willing to lend.
So even someone in advanced years can get maybe a 5 to 10 year mortgage?
Yes. For people in that age group, it's better to give a larger down payment, like 50% of the house, and finance the other 50%. Because when the term is around 10 years or lower than that, the installment will be be higher. I understand. So the debt to income will be over 50%. There is the mandatory to be less than 50%. Okay. This relation.
So what I'm understanding as well from the media is that interest rates are at an all-time low. Is that right?
Exactly.
So what are we looking at? How much are the interest rates?
Exactly. The European Bank nowadays is pricing rates under zero. Okay. So we're in a negative level since 2015. The spread of the banks goes around. It's around 1% or 1.2%. So we can get annual rate, nominal annual rate of around 0.7, 0.8% per year. Okay. On the variable rate, and you can get a fixed rate of around 1.92%. On the fixed, that's very incredibly low. Okay,
so you hit on two things that I wanted to touch on because I was curious about this, how it works in Portugal. In the States, we have fixed and variable rates too. If I do go with variable, what are some of the risks that are with variable? Which one's better, really?
In fact, here they will not rate you based on your credit score. It's more a matter of get approved or not. If you get approved, you have an automatic 2% rate on the fixed rate. Okay. For example, yeah, it's just a matter of that. They're not looking, oh, if you have 600 or 700, 800 in the credit score, the rates will be low. Not so much.
Okay.
Maybe just a little bit, decimal points. But I think the range among the banks will be around 1.9 to 2% on this beginning of 2022.
Okay. Is it really important for you to shop around at different banks on my behalf, or all the banks kind of offering the same thing?
No, that's very important because the banks here have different profiles. So if you don't fit in one bank, you can fit in the other one.
Okay.
So that's very important that you consult several banks. That's my job here.
Okay. Great. And so how much are your fees if I want to use you as my mortgage broker?
This service is free of charge.
Oh, okay.
Because the bank you choose will pay a commission for us after the deed. Okay.
Brilliant. So instead of walking into a bank and talking to their specific one, so for example, we bank with Millennium. Instead of walking into Millennium Bank and figuring out rates there, I can go to you for free, and then you can shop different banks, and I might end up back at Millennium, but I might end up at another bank. Is that right?
Exactly.
Okay.
Yes. One good thing that will help here, when you get a credit here, it's mandatory to have a life insurance. So if you go directly to the bank, you probably will make the insurance with them. That is very expensive.
Okay.
When you do with us, we have this relationship with the banks to get and quote the life insurance in the market. So we can go down and maybe have a 50-60% discount on the life insurance. So that's another advantage of going to a mortgage broker here.
Okay, so I wanna remember that because I want to come back to that. But I did have a quick question. Are there any penalties for early repayment?
Yes, there's a little penalty of 0.5% on the variable rate and 2% on the fixed rate.
Okay.
It's like if I want the early payment 10,000 euros, I'll pay 50 euros as a penalty. It's not so much.
Okay.
We have to say it, but it's not so much.
Okay.
It's not so relevant.
Okay, I see. All right, so getting back into talking about the life insurance, that sounds like another thing that maybe I wouldn't have known before even starting this process. So can you walk us through the process from start to finish? What are some of the key documents that we need? How long is this process going to take?
The process takes around 50 days, maybe 60 days, okay, after the pandemic. And if you are using a lawyer to represent you here, because as you know, you can buy from the US, for example, having a lawyer here to sign the pre-contract agreement and certify the documents, sign the deed for you. The lawyer has the keys, and it's just a matter of when you come here. If you want to put it for rent, we can put it to rent at the moment. Okay. Or you can wait for you to come to Portugal to get your keys, okay?
What are some of the key documents that I'll need? So I'll need the NIF. I'll need to have insurance.
The life insurance is for debt. If you're debt or incapacity for work, okay, you can have your debt paid. I see. Okay, with the bank. Okay. So, but you have to do it in the banks here. You cannot transfer a life insurance from the US or Canada or any other country to Portugal. Okay, you have to do it here. Okay.
Something that's really important to my wife and I is we're exploring the idea of buying a property to renovate and then renovating it. Is it possible to get a mortgage on both the property and the renovation costs?
Sure, Josh. It will be two separate mortgages. One for the house that you're going to reform, and other for the restoration, for the rehabilitation, as you say here. Okay. And you have 2 years with just paying interest. Okay, you not pay principal during the first 2 years. You have 2 years to construct it, and then you're gonna start paying the principal. Okay.
Okay. That's really good to know because
that's really good.
Because we were worried that if we were renting and then we got a mortgage, now we're essentially making like 2 home payments.
Exactly.
But we have 2 years then to get the construction done, and then in 2 years we're not renting anymore and we're just living in our new house. Is that right?
That's right.
Is the process vastly different? Is it really different?
No,
if we
just the same.
It's the same. Just 2 different mortgages.
You just have to show the banks the project, a budget for the project, And that's okay if they approve it.
Okay, so 30% to purchase the property, 30% down, loan to value, right? And then also for the renovations, I could get 30% down.
It depends. If you already have the property, you can go up to 90% on the renovation.
Okay.
If you make both, it's 70% for like a loan to value of 70%.
Okay, so that was my question. Perfect. Is there anything else that I need to know about getting a mortgage before kind of making a decision?
No, it's just like that. I think it's Portugal is a very attractive country nowadays. The prices are rising here. They have already risen, but they are still rising for sure.
Yeah, they
There's no bubble here, no, for sure. And the interest rates are very low. And with the inflation coming, we don't know how it's going with the interest rates on the near future. So nowadays you can get a 2% on fixed rate, as I said. In the US, it's like 3.5% on the fixed. So it's like a 50% discount here. So I think it's a very good opportunity here, a window of opportunity that you must go for it.
Okay, cool. Well, I've actually spoken to someone that you have helped through this whole process. His name is Israel, and he was actually he's settled on a property in Matosinhos, which is right by where Kaylee and I live. So I'm going to chat with him. Thanks for meeting with me.
That's perfect.
I appreciate it.
Thank you, Josh. You're
Cheers.
welcome.
Bye.
Thank you.
How did you first come in contact with Rafael?
We were looking for a place to live. We were looking for really purchasing a property in Portugal because we already set our mind Portugal. And then we start looking for that first. And then we realized that, gee, we cannot do that by ourselves. We have no idea how things work in Portugal. We have no clue. So we start looking for videos, YouTubes like your videos and others, and trying to find some connection there, how we can do it. And then we came across one of the videos from Rafael. Then we started doing some research about him, looking for comments and some feedbacks from other people. And we liked what we saw and his qualifications and who he was. I sent him an email. He said, can we have like a video conference, like a WhatsApp?
Yes.
And that's basically what happened. He responded right away. He said he was very kind. He said, yeah, sure enough. I mean, we can do it. No problem. So we set up the video conference, and then the rest was history. We clicked right away.
What was the buying process like for you? What was your experience?
Well, our experience was, first of all, the buying process in Portugal is quite different from here in the United States, as far as looking for a property and buy that. Rafael, for us, was very good, as I said before, because he actually clearly explained to us the process as far as the step-by-step, the type of documents we needed. I can't deny that we had some anxiety during the process, just because, first of all, we're looking for a property in the middle of the COVID time. So
yes.
And even consider all that, he actually made things smoother because he was always there to answer our questions. Several times we had to call him and say, listen, Rafael, what's going on here? I don't get this, and it's taking too much time. He says, no, don't worry about it. It's going to get there. Things in Portugal are a little bit different pace. It's a little slower if you compare with the United States. Nothing wrong. There's not a criticism. It's just the way it is. Here you got things really, when you go to a bank, you got things really sharp, and then it goes relatively fast. In Portugal, it's a little bit slower.
That's right.
To get things done.
That's our understanding as well.
But Rafael was very instrumental in explaining that. Listen, you need to submit, get a bunch of documents. We can explain later which one the documents are. And we got to submit to the banks, and the banks will make a decision, and then they will give you the best offer. And then Rafael was a person that really was connect all those dots there for us.
That's great to hear. If you could kind of give us an indication, because you said that the process was slow. How long is the process from when you started the first kind of interactions with Rafael to when you got approved for the bank loan?
The way we see the process, the length of this process for us, maybe different for each case. It depends on how you go. But for us, we can define in, I would say, 4 phases. Okay. First, we have to, as I said it before, apply for the credit. Really go in and make you known to the bank, for the financial institutions, that here I am, I want to purchase this.
Mhm.
Then we have to select the property, of course, which is another separate process there just to look for the properties.
Sure.
Get the purchasing agreement, which is with the property, and then work on the mortgage, the actual mortgage process, which is with the bank, and make sure they've already found the property. Now you're gonna have the bank to approve that property and go to the mortgage process.
Okay.
In our case, we started the process with Rafael in February 21, and we were able to sign the contract to close on the apartment in May 2021. It took us 4 months.
Okay.
Now, from the moment we got the purchase agreement, which was the third phase in our steps here, it took us 40 days to sign the contract, close the house.
Did you have to verify yourself with Rafael? Like, did he ask for really personal documents up front, or did that come later in the process?
Yeah.
Because I think a
Yeah,
lot
we
of
had
people
to,
are
yeah.
nervous about, sending away copies of their passport or social
this
security
was-
numbers or.
That was for me when Rafael first. I remember after we had our first interview, and he told us you need to give us your bank statements, and I'm talking about giving somebody that you don't know. I mean, personally,
Yeah.
all your personal bank statements. That actually 3 months, the last 3 months of bank statements. How can I give that to someone that I don't even know? I had to put let's say a token of trust on him because there was no way around it. I had to do it because he explained to us, listen, I have to show the banks here in Portugal that you actually are capable of doing what you want to do. The first document was the passport. You need to a copy of the passport, apostille, right?
Yep.
That's the word, right?
That's it.
Because this is that's another level of anxiety here because I had to send my copy of my passport and my wife's passport to Sacramento, here in California,
Yes.
to get all the certifications and apostille on that, and it took a month. And of course, the other 2 documents I had to do that was a NIF, Número de Identificação Fiscal,
Yep.
and a copy of the marriage certificate. Before we start working with Rafael, we already had the NIF because I contacted another, not a fiscal representative in Portugal that we did that. It was very easy. It was very smooth. The NIF was actually the easy part because we applied there and like in a week we had a NIF. So no big deal. But you need that. So basically it will be the passport and the NIF and the marriage certificate since I was applying as a joint with my wife.
What were some of the other documents that the bank then wanted, so you had to give that over to Rafael as well?
Proof of funds in Portugal, which was my bank statements, 401k, pension plans, whatever you have that you're going to use, that you can use to justify you as you have a financial background. Copy of your credit report, and then the last year of tax records. So you basically have to show your federal tax records.
So some of the documents that you mentioned that you had to show are actually very similar to what you have to show to get the D2 or the D7 visa. So that's really interesting to know. So I think my wife and I are looking for a house as well, and we're going to be going through this process too at some point.
Yeah.
And I think we already have those documents together, which is great. Let's talk a bit now about Rafael's services. How much were they? How much did he charge for his services?
Again, when I first found Rafael, I thought this is going to cost us a fortune.
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
That's what it feels like.
But the truth of the matter, Rafael explained to me, listen, I'm a broker, I'm a mortgage broker, and he makes his let's say his fees are actually paid by the institutions, by the banks, and by the people he actually works with. So he represents a number of banks in Portugal, and the banks will work with him. And then once we got a mortgage or whatever with that bank, the bank will pay him his fee. We have to search for a insurance company to give me a life insurance. And then, of course, the bank can provide that themselves, but they would charge a lot more. And that's the key thing. Rafael he says, no, don't worry about that portion because we will work it out cheaper insurance for you, for life insurance, which he did. And that's amazing how it goes.
Well, I guess my next question kind of sounds silly, but I'm going to ask it anyways. Do you think that Rafael's services were worth it? I mean, considering you paid zero, I imagine you're going to say yes, they're worth it.
Well, absolutely. One thing that we found out here is we were looking for that from other people before we met Rafael last year. And they made they paint the whole thing so complicated, and they want to have so much paid up front to get the thing done. And Rafael kind of a helper for us to given the reality was not like that. But one thing that's very important is depend on who you're dealing with in Portugal, you're gonna find that you need different things. For example, all the banks, they don't follow all the same procedures. You know, for example, in my case, all my documents that I sent to Portugal through Rafael were in English. I didn't have to translate anything. Some banks, for example, require that to be translated to Portuguese before they can even accept that.
Okay.
And when I started thinking about that, I felt I was in pieces. I mean, it's gonna take me forever to translate your tax forms and all that. It's a nightmare, you know. And then, but luckily for us, Rafa said, no, I found a place, the banks that do not need to do that. So he helped me all those little things. The process could be overwhelming, but having a person like Rafael to kind of basically guide this by the hand and tell you exactly how to go through the process, well, it made the whole thing much, much easier.
To recap, it is possible for foreigners to get a property here and do it remotely. Rafael's services are free and we're at historic low interest rates. Now, if you guys want to check out what your money can buy, we've created a playlist for you right here on properties here in Portugal. So go ahead and check that out. Now let's get moving. Bye.